Ludovit Klein, the parlay buster, gets the big unanimous decision victory over Ignacio Bahamondes. AJ, before we jump into this, I think it is fair to say we did acknowledge that if there's anybody who can play spoiler, and if there's anybody who can really use his skill set and his craftsmanship, veteranship, I guess you should say, to get the victory here against who arguably should win, the younger, more talented, larger frame fighter, Ignacio Bahamondes, pure talent, not technical ability, it's Ludovit Klein. Any thoughts on that?
Man, Derek, when you're right, brother. We talk about accountability on the show, folks. You need some accountability yourself, because if you didn't hear Derek say there's a prop buster on the pre-show, this was it. And we kind of all saw exactly how it unfolded. We were talking about how Ludovit Klein has the ability to take Ignacio Bahamondes down and hold him there. And if he's able to do that, he's going to win the fight. What did we see? Ludovit Klein, Mr. Highlight. Yeah, he didn't show out the highlights, but he showed out a highlight of his mental capacity and knew how to win the fight the easiest way. Again, nobody wants to go knuckle to knuckle with Bahamondes. We've seen it end badly for a lot of people. Ludovit Klein shows up, does what he needs to do. You can't be mad at it. And like I said, folks, if you did not catch the pre-show, that's your own fault. You need to learn better and make sure you click on that subscribe button.
That's right. And at the end of the day, accountability all across the board. We still picked Ignacio Bahamondes for the Bloody Water Podcast consensus picks. Once again, you can't ignore the talent, the raw talent that this fighter has, the frame, the ability to be able to put damage on his opponents. But in the Corey Sandhagen-esque style, Ludovit Klein said, why fight that fight when I can just take the least resistance, the path to least resistance, the easiest methodology of winning? I'm going to take him down. I'm going to get the decision victory, and look at me. Now I've strung together a couple of wins, right? So big win by Ludovit Klein. My question to you is that Ignacio Bahamondes, now we're starting to see a hole, right? And the hole looks like the faster fighters, the speedier fighters who have good takedown capacities. Bahamondes is struggling because he's a really great at-range fighter, and he should be able to use that frame to keep people at range. But when you have a guy who's faster than you, it's kind of hard to do that, right?
It's funny the ebb and flow we see with how MMA is always presented, Derek. Sometimes for a while there, the Sambo was on top because it couldn't escape the feet lock. And then the wrestling comes back, boxing comes back. Maintaining range has always been a big one. If you're a big guy and you're able to actually fight at range, you have this skill that nobody else can kind of maneuver around. We haven't found that Mike Tyson that's able to dip up under your guard and come in and hurt you to the body yet. Well, it turns out we have found the wrestlers that are able to dip up under your guard, get to a body lock and put you down, hold you there the entire time. And especially with Bahamondes in this fight, when he wasn't really working anything with his legs, he wasn't working for a sweep, he wasn't kicking off, he wasn't doing anything productive to get out of there. He was just kind of chilling, like waiting, surviving. That's kind of it. That was the big hole. And if we can see more fighters kind of exploit that and get to those advantageous positions, I think the game's going to grow in general. But also at that same point, I think Bahamondes, look out for him in a couple years. This boy is going to be an absolute savage.
That's right. It takes a couple of these learning lessons right here to come out on top. But for now, big win by Mr. Highlight Ludovit Klein.